Ambition has ruined more lives than laziness ever could. Not because wanting more is wrong, but because dreaming feels like progress when it is not. The mind rewards intention as if it were action, and in doing so quietly steals your future. Once in feudal Japan there lived a young samurai named Yuki. From the outside, Yuki appeared devoted to the path of the warrior. He spoke endlessly about the man he would become. He studied famous battles, memorized the names of legendary swordsmen, and imagined himself standing victorious, honored by his clan. His ambition was vast. His vision was clear, and everyone around him believed he was destined for greatness. Yuki truly believed that strong desire was enough, that if his goals were vivid enough, action would naturally follow. Yet, when the time came to train, something always stood in the way. The weather was too harsh. His body felt tired. He told himself he needed more preparation, more knowledge, more planning before he could begin properly. One day became a week. 1 week became a year. Years passed. While Yuki's dreams grew larger, his skills remained small. Younger warriors, less talkative and less imaginative, trained every day without ceremony. They practiced the same movements again and again, long after the excitement faded. Slowly they surpassed him. When Yuki finally faced them, he realized a painful truth. His ambition had not lifted him higher. It had made him weaker. His mind had lived in the future, but his body had remained in the present, untrained and unprepared. This is not a story about laziness. Yuki was not lazy. He was ambitious. And that was the problem. Strong ambition often creates a dangerous illusion. It gives us the feeling of progress without the cost of effort. Speaking about goals, planning endlessly, imagining success, all of it feels productive. But none of it builds strength. None of it creates skill. None of it changes who you are. Yuki's identity became that of a dreamer, not a practitioner. And the more clearly he imagined his future, the more uncomfortable the present felt. Training became harder, not easier, because his mind had already tasted victory without earning it. This is how ambition, when left unchecked by action, becomes a trap. And once inside it, many never escape. Yuki believed, as many do, that motivation would arrive before action. That one morning he would wake with clarity, energy and certainty, and only then would he begin. But that morning never came, and it rarely does. This reveals a deeper truth about human nature. Motivation is unreliable because it is emotional, and emotions are shaped by comfort. When the task ahead feels difficult, boring, or slow, the mind looks for escape. It delays, it negotiates, it invents reasons that sound responsible but are in truth fear wearing a mask. Yuki told himself he was being careful. He said he was planning. He believed he was preparing, but preparation became a shelter from discomfort. Each time he imagined his future success, his brain rewarded him with satisfaction. Dopamine flowed not from effort, but from fantasy. And slowly his mind learned something dangerous. It could feel accomplished without doing anything at all. This is the gap that destroys progress, the distance between wanting and doing. The more we talk about our plans without acting, the more our mind confuses intention with achievement. Desire becomes a substitute for discipline, and over time, the very dreams that once inspired us begin to paralyze us. They grow so large that starting feels insignificant by comparison. Why practice one small movement when the vision in your mind is so grand? This is why motivation cannot be trusted. Motivation favors comfort. It appears when conditions are pleasant and disappears when resistance shows itself. If you wait to feel ready, you may wait forever. The samurai understood this danger well. They knew that time is the only resource that cannot be recovered. A wasted day is not neutral, it is lost forever. Dreams without action quietly consume years, leaving behind regret disguised as wisdom. To wait for motivation before beginning is like waiting for calm seas before setting sail. The sea is never perfectly calm. Those who wait remain on the shore, watching as others depart in imperfect conditions. and reach distant lands. Action does not follow motivation. Motivation follows action. Movement creates momentum. Momentum creates energy, and energy mistaken for inspiration appears only after the first step is taken. Those who master themselves are not driven by how they feel. They are guided by what they do, regardless of feeling. Yuki did not fail because he lacked ambition. He failed because he trusted it. Centuries ago, the great swordsman Miyamoto Musashi understood what most never do. Greatness is not created in moments of inspiration, but in the quiet discipline of repetition. While others searched for sudden transformation, Musashi committed himself to steady, unremarkable action performed day after day. The samurai were not forged in moments of excitement. They were shaped in monotony. Long before the battlefield, there was the training ground. The same stance, the same strike, the same breath, repeated thousands of times without applause or recognition. They trained not when they felt ready, but because training was their way of life. To the untrained mind, this seems uninspiring. To the disciplined mind, it is freedom. The samurai captured this principle in what later became known as Kaizen, the way of small improvements. A mountain is not climbed by staring at its peak and wishing to be there. It is climbed by placing one foot forward again and again, even when the distance seems endless. Imagine a young samurai student who feels tired each morning. He does not feel motivated. His body resists, his mind complains. Yet instead of giving in, he practices a single sword form every day. Just one, no grand routine, no dramatic effort. His peers laugh. They say such a small action is meaningless. But he continues. Weeks pass, and the movement becomes smoother. Months pass, and his body responds without thought. What once required effort now feels natural. When the time comes to learn advanced techniques, he is ready. Not because he waited for motivation, but because he built a foundation while others waited. This is the power of small actions. They bypass resistance. They require little emotion, and because they are easy to repeat, they become habits. Habits do not ask how you feel, they simply execute. The samurai understood that strength is not the result of intensity, but of consistency. A small action performed daily carries more power than the grandest plan that is never begun. Yuki believed his dreams would carry him forward. The disciplined student allowed his actions to do the work instead. This is the difference between those who imagine change and those who become it. The samurai knew a truth that modern minds resist. Strength is not found in feeling ready. It is found in acting despite resistance. Waiting for motivation is not patience, it is surrender. It hands control of your future to emotion, and emotion is unstable. One of the great samurai teachers, Yagyu Munenori, once warned that the sword that waits for perfect conditions never leaves its sheath. If you wait for the right moment, you may wait your entire life. Conditions are rarely ideal, energy fades, confidence wavers, and yet, time continues forward indifferent to hesitation. The desire to wait often comes from fear of discomfort, fear of beginning imperfectly, fear that effort will not immediately feel rewarding. But discipline is not about eliminating fear, it is about moving forward in its presence. Yuki learned this too late. He realized that his endless preparation had been a form of avoidance. That talking about change had given him the illusion of progress while leaving him unchanged. His ambition had comforted him, but it had not strengthened him. The samurai way is simple but unforgiving. Begin with what you can do today, not tomorrow, not when you feel inspired. Today. Choose actions so small that resistance has no room to argue. One practice, one repetition, one step. Then repeat it, whether you feel like it or not. Do not place your trust in emotion. Feelings are fleeting. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. Place your trust in commitments and habits, for they remain when emotion fades. As the warriors once lived by I am not controlled by my feelings, I am guided by my commitments. Bar. This is the true test, not whether you understand these words, but whether you act on them when the video ends. The difference between the dreamer and the disciplined is not knowledge, it is movement. Bar. Yuki dreamed of becoming a warrior. Others became warriors by acting. Bar. You do not need to feel ready. Bar. You need to begin. Because the power to act without waiting for motivation is the power to shape your life. Bar. Thank you for watching.